you have selected your thread and your needle, it's time to begin hand sewing. Remember, you will be using a much finer thread, an all-purpose thread, and a normal size needle. But for reasons of visibility, I'm going to continue using my tapestry needle and also use a little bit heavier embroidery style thread. When you are doing hand sewing, you want to make sure you do not cut the length of your thread longer than 18 inches. The reason is, the longer your thread, the better possibility as you are sewing it will tangle and also possibly create a knot in the thread. 18 inches is the recommended maximum length of the thread. Also, when you are hand sewing, you will be using a single length of thread as opposed to doubling up your thread and tying it at the end. That is something you would do when you need a stronger stitching, such as buttonholes or closures like snaps or hooks and eyes. But for our samples, we're going to have a single thread, and now we need to knot the end of the thread. Okay, the most common way to knot the end of the thread is to simply take your thread, do a simple loop, and tie a knot at the end. Sometimes that is not as easy as it appears to be, especially if you're using really fine thread. It's hard to see that end and get it right at the end of the knot where you want it. A more fail-proof method of tying a knot in the end of your thread is to take your needle. Here is the eye of my needle with the thread. I take the other end of the thread, and I take the end of the thread, I come up from behind the needle, drop the thread over the front, wrap it around the needle twice, pinch all of it, slide it off my needle, and when you get to the end, you have a knot in exactly where you want it to be. Okay? I will show you that again. Here is the threaded. This is the eye of my needle. This end is threaded. There's my tail. I take the other end of my thread, this end. I come from behind the needle and lay the end over it towards me. Then I take the thread and I wrap it twice towards the back. I pinch it all, and then I slide it off my needle. I'm still pinching it, and when I get to the end, oops, I have a perfect knot. Okay? That is threading your needle. Now we're ready to do some samples.